Hey man, this is Mark Borchardt, and if you know what's right, if you know what's good, if you know what's best for you, listen to WithoutYourHead.com.
Alright, and welcome to the Station of Decapitation. Without Your Head, I'm Nasty Neal, along with my cohorts in crime.
That would make me Terrible Troy.
And I am the Dead Duck Man.
The Dead Duck Man. I think this is your first time as an official host of the show on with us.
I guess so.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Actually, last week was, but I don't know what I'm talking about. But we are joined by a guest right away here. We are joined by Brian O'Halloran from Clerks, from Clerks 2, from all kinds of films, and you can see him this weekend at Rock and Shock.
What's going on, guys?
It's awesome to have you here.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. I know everyone probably tells you they've seen Clerks a million times. Do you ever get sick of it?
Well, it's been out enough that you probably could see it a million times by now. But you know what? That's the movie that has made myself, Kevin's career, and plenty of other Jay Muse, plenty of other people.
Mm-hmm. No, it's at a horror convention. Do people still? Is that the movie they want stuff autographed for the most, or is it vulgar, or some of your newer stuff?
It's usually heavy on the Clerks and anything that's like the View Askew stuff, like Jay and Silent Bob, or vulgar as well. But yeah, it was a movie called Brutal Massacre I did a couple of years ago, a comedy about the making of a horror film that got me on the HorrorCon convention list. Yeah,
it's a mockumentary. It sounded like
Correct.
An awesome cast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun shooting it. The writer-director Stephen Mena, his first film, which was Malevolence, he had a really rough time while making it. It's a great film and all, but he had a rough time making it with, just being an independent filmmaker. And so he decided to write a script on what it would be like, to show the behind the scenes of what really, in a comical way, of what making a horror film is about. Mm. And now he's made a new one that came out last year called Bereavement, which is kind of, I think, the prequel to Malevolence.
Nice. Did you, your first time at a horror convention, before, did you think maybe this is something I want to do, or what did you think you'd be in store for?
Well, I've been to cons, like Comic Cons and gaming cons before. I mean, as a youth, I was a role player, table gamer as well. Huge nerd.
Nice.
And so,
yeah.
I've been to Gen Con and Origins and things like that before that, before even getting into acting. So I knew what cons were about. And this just had more of a, horror, biker type of feel to it. So it had, it was one costume, just like a holiday. It's one day it's Easter, the next day it's, Christmas.
Yeah. Before actually we go too far, I want to be another person to tell you I've actually seen Clerks a million times, and it's one of my favorite movies.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm, the real star of that movie is definitely the script. Kevin just wrote a real dream of a script for me to work with, and for Jeff, and just to have that dialogue and the subject matter. I think Kevin really tapped on a nerve that was really untapped at that point.
Mm-hmm. Hilarious. What are some of the lines that people say to you the most?
Well, I always get asked, "Are you even supposed to be here today?" So
that's come up about 10 times in the chat room already.
I'm not supposed to be here today.
Right. And that's such an iconic line by itself. I mean, I bet even one of the presidents of the United States has said that in their job at one point or another.
Right.
It's the type of thing that everybody has said that at one point.
In between talking about Big Bird.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, that's all they talk about right now. Anyone ever tell you that they're number 38?
No, I've had people offer themselves as number, I'd be 38.
Yeah. That's weird to offer to you.
Yeah.
Right, I know, but I mean, they're kind of like, hey, where's Veronica? I want to be 38.
Yeah.
And I'm like, move along.
She was actually going to come on tonight when they found she heard you were going to be on the show, but she couldn't.
Oh, okay.
So we'll probably have her on next week or the week after. But she was going to try to come on.
She's doing the convention circuit right now as well. I believe she was just down in Nashville this past weekend.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, Rock and the Shock's a little different because it's a horror convention during the day, and at night they have cons, they have concerts. A lot of Guar's going to be there and stuff. Are you gonna see any of the concerts? Any of the bands playing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was at Rock and Shock. I think it was 5 years ago. I think I was there when Brutal Massacre first came out, and so I enjoyed it then. I think it was Insane Clown Posse, Guar, and Mushroom Head that year. So it was a really great lineup. This lineup is just as good as well.
Yeah.
Mushroom Head is the shit.
Duckman's a big fan of Mushroom Head.
Yeah, they really did kill it. That I think they were the first night. I think they were the Friday night, and they killed it that night.
Nice.
Just so everybody knows, that's actually this weekend, and you go to the website, rockandshock.com. It's me in Worcester. There's a big link right on our website. You can't miss it. You can click right on it. If you guys want to call in...
Rock out with your cock out.
If you guys want to call in, it's 508-644-8503. And we should have a caller on the line right now. We have Greg.
Hey, Brian, how are you, sir?
Hey, Greg, what's going on, sir?
Good. I worked with you actually a couple years ago at Rock and Shock. This is like my 4th year with the row working there. I love going helping Gina and Kevin out, and we're welcome, glad to have you back. So you're a great addition. So.
Oh, wait, thanks, man. I enjoy it. You guys really set us all up, and that's the one thing that makes this convention so unique is you guys really do take care of all your guests very well. And it was a blast last year, and the shows were awesome, and I can't wait to hang out again.
Yep, and it's like I said, when I'm there, if you need anything, just let me know. I'll be around taking care of all you guys. So.
Thanks, Greg.
Am I getting anything, Greg? Oh, I want something out of this. like a bottle of water or something?
I'll get you a VIP line to Brian. See Brian.
All right. That sounds good. Thanks for calling in, Greg.
No problem, bro.
Duckman, you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to know if you ever look at your Wikipedia page and if you approve of the picture that they have of you in there.
Oh, the one that looks like a mugshot almost?
Yes, where you're sunburned, or it looks like.
Yeah. Some guy came by my booth at, what was it, I think New York Comic Con last year. And he's like, oh, do you mind if I take a picture for Wikipedia? I was like, what? There's an official guy that goes around taking pictures for Wikipedia?
No.
So I was just like, okay. And I just stood there and if you look at the picture, you can see my thought process going on. Like, why is he taking a picture for Wikipedia? Isn't it like just a bunch of ragtag type of nerds in a basement going like, this is what we should put under quantum physics next?
Indeed.
And so it was just so odd that he was like an official cameraman for them. So, but yeah, he's like, do you mind if I put this up? I'm like, sure, go ahead.
I know
because you could change it if you wanted to.
I don't even know how that works. Don't you have to go before like a quorum of the geeks, and they'll go, he has a point. We should change this fact.
Anybody can put anything in there if they want to. I like messing with people's stuff.
Yeah,
it'd be great if you get a picture of like a sketch artist type of rendition of you. That'd be funny.
Somebody could put you blow goats in there if they wanted to.
Right.
A fan of ours made
one time, for a while on IMDb, it said I had cancer. And I was like, what? That's crazy.
That's fucked up.
I literally had to email them numerous times. First, my age. They had me like 5 years older than I was. So I sent over a JPEG of a copy of my passport going, look, man, that's not how old I am. And secondly, I don't have cancer. So I don't know where you're getting that from. I work with cancer charities. I know people around me who've had cancer who I visit them in hospitals. But it was just so kind of weird. So it's that type of nebulous type of information that gets out there. You go like, wow, where do they get it?
Yeah, that'd be a shitty way to find out you did have cancer. Like,
yeah, really.
IMDb. Yeah. Better than Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Duckman, I know there's some questions from some of the fans on the Facebook. Do you have those handy?
I can pull them up. Are they in the Without Your Head thing? I didn't get sent any, actually.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure there were all stuff that he's heard many.
I could pull it up.
Yeah,
I could ask him about being in Pokemon.
When Clerks 2 came up, and you knew it was going to be in color, and you had a big actress in the movie and everything. Did you have any hesitations?
Well, I didn't have hesitation in wanting to do it. I knew we had to all step up our A game to like triple. Instead of our AAA game that we normally would have, we brought it up to regular single A. So, when we first got rehearsal for Clerks 2, Kevin had booked like an entire month of time out in L.A. to do rehearsals with everybody. And so we did a rehearsal without Rosario present in the early afternoon, and things were like kind of, hit and miss at times. And then when Rosario came in and we did the reading again, for rehearsal, we all, like myself and Jeff and Jay, all of a sudden it just poured out of us. Like we got up to our A game quite quickly because, you know, when you surround yourself with people who this is their thing, you know, in the sense of like she's an A-lister, true and true, that you can't fuck up. And so it's pretty funny that that after that, Kevin's like, and she leaves. She went out to go to some other event. And when she left, Kevin's like, looked at me and Jay and Jeff was like, what was that all about? What was earlier today then if now, you know, you guys are pulling this out like this? So it was kind of funny. We had cut our rehearsal time short because of it. Mm-hmm. Because he was like, look, I don't want, you guys got it. You know, it's almost like getting on a bike with myself and Jeff, especially in this dialogue, is we know how to pick it up and we know the pace that Kevin likes to have his stuff said.
Mm-hmm. When you saw, you know, when you film it, did you know it was going to be this was going to be a good movie?
I mean, I knew it was a strong script, and I knew that. I mean, we were all nervous because here we were touching a movie that was beloved by fans, and if you fuck it up, these are the type of rabid fans that would really, really, you know, come down on you and would never, you know, and then they would yell stuff that probably would say, well, now you've ruined the first one for me with that piece of dog crap you put out. So, in a way, Kevin was actually editing as we were filming. So 3 days into filming was the first set of dailies, as they call it, that come back for him to start editing with. And he put together one of the first scenes we shot, which was the scene in the office with myself and Rosario, and I'm painting her nails and we're discussing things. And he showed it to us during one of the lunch breaks on the fourth day. And, you know, we liked what we saw, and it was really good. You know, and I thought, you know, we got something here.
You know, when it came out, a lot of people thought it was better than the original one. And like, were you surprised that, you know, or were you happy that, you know, it really took off so big, and that the original fans really liked it and newer fans liked it?
I'm really glad that fans do come up to me and say, oh, you know what, I really like the second one better than the first one. You know what, I think they're both separate films in a sense. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're the same characters, and it's a carry on from them later in life. But I mean, it's also it just shows the maturity that Kevin did. I think at that point he had made, I think, about 7 or 8 films at that point, and he took literally the best that he's done with every of his films and put it in that one. And these are the characters he knows the best, inside and out. I mean, he literally lives with them every single day. So to know them and to write for them and to really feel what he truly felt in his own experience of life, I mean, I think it was great that he put it all together, and the fans appreciate it. They're both separate things. Like, you know, when we were in our early 20s with the first one, where all we want to know is, well, we had our whole life ahead of us, what are we going to do? And then this one comes out in our mid-30s, and we're like, God, it feels like our whole lives are over, and what are we going to do now? And, you know, who knows if he should ever make another one, it'd probably be something like, well, now what do? We have kids and all this other stuff, you know?
Yeah. That's really interesting. You know, if they would have went with the original ending for Clerks, I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but I think, you know, most big fans know Dante gets killed in the original ending. And how different would that have been for you and just for the movie itself, everything that's happened since?
You know, I don't know. I mean, a lot of things would not have happened in the sense of the cartoon characters would have been just probably a Jay and Silent Bob cartoon at that point. You know, it's tough. And that's why I guess when it was only screened that way once at a film festival in New York, the first film festival I went to, the New York Independent Feature Film Market, which doesn't even exist anymore. And we were, you know, lucky enough to have Kevin been mentored by John Pearson and then represented by John Pearson, a great filmmaker and producer's rep himself, saying like, look, man, you can't have this comedy go through the entire, you know, film of it being a comedy, and then you really piss off your audience by killing one of the main characters like that at the very last second, you know, for what you think is a very serious reason. And I understand the irony that you're trying to pose by saying, look, he wasn't even supposed to be here that day, and he winds up getting killed. You know, we get the point, but at the same time, it's like, look, keep it a straight comedy, man. You'll have better longevity with it.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll get a caller on the line. 585 area code. Mystery Man.
Hello?
Yeah, who are you?
Ahoy.
Hey, what's going on?
Do you have a name?
Junior.
Junior. All right, Junior.
What's going on, Junior?
Nothing much. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Is that your question?
Okay. I got a question about Clerks, because like I got both the movies. I got the cartoon adaptation on DVD. and I don't know if anybody's asked the question. I was listening to bits and pieces of the show, but is there going to be a third installment?
That's a Kevin question. If he used to make it, I mean, he keeps talking in interviews that he's retiring, like he's making a hockey movie and then he's retiring. So I don't know. I would love to do the cartoon again, to be honest with you. If there wasn't going to be a third one of the actual films, I would love to just take these characters and continue with the cartoon. But you know what? I always say just email Kevin, and when you see him at his live events or his interviews, that's the thing to ask him. And I'm almost sure that myself and Jay and I'm sure Jeff would probably come on board with it as well.
And I think for an added bonus twist, if you do a third one, you should have a black guy who acts completely white.
I think we have a white guy who thinks he's black. I think he's Jay.
Yep. Yeah, which is why you should have the bizarre one be a black guy that just comes in all proper language, and he'd be the BIT, which would be the black in training, and he would have to learn from Jay.
Are you trying?
There we go. I'm going to have to pass that along to Kevin.
Thanks for calling in, Junior.
No problem.
I'm actually glad you brought up the cartoon and that you're a fan of it because you really liked it, because I thought it's really underrated. It didn't last that long, and
I was a huge fan of the cartoon. When we were making it back in 2000, I mean, I was thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be our Simpsons. We'll be employed for about 10 years. This will be great. And all you do is literally show up. You can be naked and record the cartoon.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something I love and I wish we could carry. And to be honest with you, it's something we could do at any point because it's just our voices, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's always things. Whenever I see Kevin, I'm like, so, do you think we can get the cartoon going again? Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it was before its time because, after that, was a lot of cartoons, like, Adult Swim came out, a lot of cartoons for adults, and I think it would probably would have fit in better or been, accepted better if it came out a little bit later.
Or as a web show.
Absolutely, and there are a lot more outlets now to actually put those stuff out on. I mean, you could not only just Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and even Fox at times, but you could also put it on something like FX. You could put it on Spike, and then you could even do it for direct on demand. Let's say something on Hulu, or like he does his show Spoilers on Hulu, or something for Netflix. There's many different ways now that, as the audience leaves from traditional watching of television to watching things on streaming and watching things on the internet, it doesn't seem too far-fetched to do that even with this cartoon.
Yeah. I know Netflix has some original programming. They had
Lilyhammer.
They have the new Ricky Gervais show is going to be exclusive to Netflix. Derek. Right.
And what it is it's a great way to they have a subscriber base in the millions, and so even if you were on a regular broadcast television network, mainstream television network, you can't be guaranteed those type of numbers sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Nope. That's a lot of people.
What do you think Dante would think of Netflix?
I think Dante would enjoy it. I think it would be something that he would embrace. I mean, the video stores, the mom and pop video stores are closing left and right, but I think there's still a way for old mom and pop video stores to stay open by being a very niche type of video store. If it's a video store that completely just utterly dedicates themselves to offbeat kind of niche-y type of films, I think they can survive. So it'd be interesting. I can see where there'd be a good episode where the Randall character and the Dante character argue. I think Randall probably hates the Netflix thing, but still sneaks it every once in a while. And, because he works, since he runs the video store, I think he would feel slighted by it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to ask this question because a lot of people posted a very similar question, but I was going to ask it. But anyway, Joseph wants to know, how steamy was the sex scene in Vulgar?
With 3 other dudes on top of you? Not steamy at all, sir. That's not the sport I play, but it was definitely dark and disturbing, and I remember those days of filming were not the happiest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Are you surprised so many people like that, though, that if they mention that, they say it like a humorous way instead of like...
No, I'm very proud of that film. I think I did a really great performance in that film, and I think it's not your usual movie-going fare that, here it is, you think it's a buddy type of, slappy type of comedy, and it takes this real hard left turn into darkness that's like, whoa, where did this come from? If it's a film that even Howard Stern said himself he had to stop halfway through because it was kind of a bit too disturbing for him. So, I wear that as a little bit of a badge of honor. So I'm proud of Vulgar. I wish Brian Johnson would have made something after that, to be honest with you. I was looking to see if he was going to take that character and do into something else. Like, it would have been funny if he turned him into some sort of pseudo-vigilante type of guy.
Yeah. Doc Man, did you have any other questions?
No, I was looking to see if I can find any of them. Somebody in the chat asked... Oh, Clerks 3, never mind.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Lisa, I don't know if this is an in-joke or what, but Lisa Joe says, how much do you enjoy toenail painting? Or maybe she's just a bizarre person. I don't know.
That was something that when we did the first film, Kevin's like, just, I don't know, do something while you're sitting with her back there. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, Marilyn, do you have any nail polish on you? She goes, yeah, why? I was like, let me paint your nails or something. She goes, oh, all right, that sounds fine. And that's pretty much literally how it came up.
Yeah.
So then,
okay.
Kevin just carried it into the second movie as well, that he makes it into something that, Dante has a thing for doing, his girlfriend's nails.
Have you seen the zombie hockey jerseys?
Which ones?
They got the zombie hockey team.
Oh, yeah, the Monroeville Zombies, right.
Yeah, those are pretty sweet. I know, they played hockey in the movie and everything. Do you collect hockey jerseys or do you collect anything?
I don't collect hockey jerseys. And I used to do the Star Wars collection type of thing, but then that stopped after those horrid prequels came out. I was like, well, fuck this. So, but I am a huge hockey fan, and I'm just chomping at the bit for them to settle this stupid lockout so we can get back to hockey again.
Yeah. You said you collected Star Wars, and then and you're doing the horror conventions. Are you a fan of horror movies in general?
I'm a fan. I'm not like the guy waiting for the next Saw or the next Hospital. You know what I mean? I'm not into like, oh my God, these are the best movies ever. I'm more into the like Silence of the Lambs, the Halloweens, the things like that. So I'm fans of more like that classic style suspense type of horror. Mm-hmm. But I am a fan of these films and these other actors of these films as well. When I saw what's his name? Was it from Fright Night? God,
Chris Sarandon?
Yeah, Chris Sarandon. I was just like, oh my God, it's Chris Sarandon. And I know, yes, he was Humperdinck as well, but I was just like, I really loved you in Fright Night, and I was a big fan of yours in your other films as well. And so, there are these people who are in that genre as well that I become a little geeked out to meet as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you have any particular stories that stick out from a fan interaction at a convention?
Let me see. Not really. There was this one girl who was literally like shaking in tears, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And I was just like, I am nobody, really, seriously. I'm in a couple of films that you kind of enjoy. It's no need to be crying like this, so there are those type of those, I call them interventions almost, those meetings that I have with fans. I'm just like, wow, it's just weird. I could really get geeked out about certain people, but it's like, wow, it's just weird.
Mm-hmm. Duckman's like making a cake or something in the background.
No, that's my cat. He's knocking shit down. Sorry.
That's all right. Do you have any current projects coming up?
I'm working on I'm making a guest appearance in a horror film called The Sickness, and I start filming that, I believe, next week. Actually, right after coming back from Rock and Shock, I'll be doing a day or two here in southern New Jersey, actually.
That's really cool. Well, you give us any details on that?
Not at the moment. As soon as the filmmaker's ready to start releasing some information on that, I will.
Mm-hmm. Something I asked last time in the interview, is it anybody you've come into contact with over the years that, if you had the chance to just kick them in the nuts, who would you pick?
No, I'm not that type of guy who I just want to kick them in the nuts. You know what I mean? Some people, if they want to live their lives being douches or dicks, then that's their prerogative. They'll eventually just, karma is a bitch and it comes back to you. But I've never had anyone really have any issues with me, and I really never had any issues with anyone else. I've seen people, certain celebrity types treat other people like crap, or it's just like, what was that about? You know, these people just are trying to help you out, and if you're trying to be a dick to them because they're trying to help you out, I don't understand it. But, you know, some of those type of things, I'm just a regular type of guy where I go like, look, you know, you're not as important as you really think you are, you know.
Who would make you geek out?
Who would make me geek out? That's a
Yeah,
good
if you
question.
met, like, Sammy Davis Jr.
The Candyman, you know, it would be interesting to meet him, especially now, because he would be a zombie if I met him now.
Everybody loves zombies.
Yeah,
Zombie
that's
Sam
true. They are the hot monster right now. You know what? I probably would have freaked out meeting someone like John Wayne, I guess, at the time, and Jimmy Cagney. My father was like into those old time movies, and I remember thinking like, wow, these guys are some giants, you know, back in the day, and they're acting.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Anthony Hopkins would be someone today that I would freak out with. I've met Robert De Niro, so I've already geeked out about him.
You already shat your pants at that opportunity.
Yeah, it was nice, you know, very nice meeting him. And who else would I probably geek out about? I don't know. That's a good question. That I'd have to wait until I see them. I'd be like, oh my God, you're so and so, you know.
Right, and you never
Maybe George
realize
Lucas.
it.
I've never met George Lucas, where I would be like, hey, what's up, George? What happened, man? I want my $8 back.
Have you seen Red Tails?
No, I never did. They came around. It was funny at New York Comic Con. They came around with a flight simulator where you sat in it at the convention hall. It was like like one of those, you get in a type of a mechanical trailer and it moves you all around like a simulator. And you were shown footage of the film as if you were in the cockpit of the film, of the flyers and stuff. And it was really weird. And I was like, oh, this looks pretty good, but I never did get to see the actual film. Did you?
Oh yeah, it sucks except for the fight scenes. Well,
there you go.
The air stuff is amazing. It's probably some of Lucas's best work, but the plot is terrible, and none of those kids can act.
Yeah, I mean that's a shame that, you know, he's technologically strong, but storyline weak in these later years.
Yeah, and he wanted Sam Jackson to direct that movie apparently and get him to star in it, but he had to get Cuba Gooding Jr. instead. So.
Right.
Was there any CGI Jabba the Hutt in it?
No, but Method Man basically was a droid.
So I've asked, since you brought up being a Dungeons & Dragons fan, and I played it pretty much my whole life, what's your favorite class?
Favorite class?
Yeah. Favorite class, favorite race?
He's a Scion.
I was always fond of the thief. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one.
It was fun being a thief.
Yeah.
Extra dice sticks.
And I go both ways in the sense of, like, if I was either a thief or if I wasn't a thief, then I was a paladin. I was like, you know, ultra good paladin.
One extreme to the other, huh?
Right, exactly. Where I was the problem with parties, because I'd be like, wait a minute, do we need to do this? You know, that type of thing.
They're like, come on, just let us steal shit.
You need the 18.
We actually, you know, my group of friends, we actually used to play the Iron Crown Enterprises rules, you know, the Lord of the Rings rules.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because they had the better, I felt at the time when they first came out especially, they had the critical hits, and they had I think they had a better system, an actual system playing. And then my good friend, he wrote his own world, and we played in his world of characters and races and things like that. But we used that system. And it's so funny because this circle of friends, you know, back in the day as a teenager, we grew up to be something that was really funny. I always used to build on the character and the backstory of my characters, and I became kind of an actor in life. And the guy who wrote and DM'd all our stuff, and who was an amazing writer, he's an actual published writer. Like he won the Pulitzer Prize for writing last year. His name is Junot Diaz, Junotdiaz.
Oh, I've heard of him.
He wrote a book called The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a good book.
Right, and he just came up with a new one last month called 20 Ways to Lose Her or something like that. Or hold on a second, I have it over here. This is How You Lose Her. And it was so funny that this guy who's like writing some really great fiction, and mostly it's about boyfriend-girlfriend relationship type stuff that's really fucking funny. He has literally volumes and volumes and volumes of notebooks sitting that he has all this great science fiction and all this great fantasy world type of stuff. And I keep telling him, man, you got to print these, man. You got to print what we did, and you got to print it. Now that you're a published and recognized and award-winning author, people will eat this shit up.
Oh, yeah. It'd be
His
like the
first
next
book was
George R. R.
amazing.
Martin or somebody.
Yeah, and we did all sorts of gaming too. We did we would play like DC Heroes, or we'd play Champions, and we played Call of Cthulhu. We did Villains and Vigilantes. We did it all.
Yeah, we pretty much played all those too. I remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. And
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And Riffs.
what was that one?
Riffs?
Oh, I think you meant Risk, the board game.
No, R-I-F-T-S.
Rift.
Oh, Rift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit after my day.
Paranoia was always a fun game.
I don't think I ever played that one.
No.
Oh, you never had Paranoia where you had clones?
Did
It was
Paranoia.
Paranoia
Yeah, it was-
great.
It was a really good game.
Huh.
They still put copies of it out. I saw it at the game shop the other day.
Yeah, it was funny because I was at Origins a couple of years ago, and the guy who still publishes Champions, he had heard me in an interview talking about, we used to play Champions, and we used to play and he actually came over with a whole set of all the new books and all the new rules. Like, here, I heard you were a fan. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. It was like really weird. And then I went over to one of the vendors and started looking for the old games again. And some of the old books, if they're in mint condition of some of these, D&D and Iron Crown and all that, they're like worth like $180. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Man. Yeah, I think I have all the old original books, but they're not in mint condition because
No, of course not, because you had them opened and displayed open in front of you, like most of the time when you played, for the most part.
Yeah, we actually have some dice. We call them the relic dice because we used to play under a light, a street light, and we used to play under the road. And they're like the 20 sides, like almost perfectly round from rolling on the
Right, exactly.
The old 20-sided, they only had 1 to 10, 1 to 0 to 1 to 0, and then you'd have to color in half of the other ones.
Right, I remember that. And they would give you, it was a solid piece of plastic, and they would throw in a small, cheesy type of crayon in with the bag.
Yep.
I never.
Wow, only the old school gamers know these things.
Yeah.
And on a serious note, people make fun of role-playing games and everything, but I always thought it really helps like your creativity, and I always thought it was a positive thing.
Absolutely, it develops character in a person. You get to figure out, because you're usually dealing with certain sort of moral issues in the game. Mm-hmm. Another thing is it develops strategy planning. You get to strategize with other people. You actually are, as geeky and as non-social they thought geeks were. Geeks who hung out with other geeks, we were very social with each other.
I was going to say the same thing.
Especially compared to today's kids.
Right.
Yeah, everyone's online looking at porn.
That's what they do. Fans of this show.
Well, we still looked at porn, but we had books of porn.
Yeah,
You'd have to smuggle them out of, for us, it was like my grandfather's, truck,
Good times. Good. Well, we're going to let everybody know again. This weekend, October 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, in Worcester, Massachusetts, Rock and Shock, rockandShock.com. You can see Brian. There's all kinds of guests there. It's one of the biggest conventions I go to. It's always a lot of
Ace
fun.
Frehley, I hear, is going to be there.
Yeah. There's
That's awesome.
And Peter Criss, I think, from...
Oh, is it? That's what I think it is. That's right. I think you're right. I think it is Peter Criss.
Does he have
But guys, definitely come down to Worcester. I'm sure it's going to be a wicked awesome time.
Back to
A wicked pisser.
Yeah. I'm born and raised in Massachusetts, but people say I do not have a Massachusetts accent.
No, you don't. You don't sound like you do have a Massachusetts at all type of
He
accent.
hides it well. I don't know how he does it.
I've been told that I have a nondescript American accent. I think that's really insulting. It's just like you're just not memorable at all.
That's your claim to fame, Neal.
You just could literally be anyone. But yeah, Danny Trejo's gonna be there, which I found out we'll actually be doing an interview at Rock and Shock with, so that's pretty awesome. Heather Langenkamp, Dee Snider. Oh, Dee Snider will not be there, unfortunately.
Yeah, he had to cancel. Anthony Michael Hall. That's cool.
Eric Roberts, Tyler Maine. Oh, the Candyman's going to be there.
There you go.
Oh, one of my favorites. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or not. But there's a lot of videos with me with Lawrence Harvey of Human Centipede 2. The man, he is the man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Centipede 2, you got to see it.
Yeah, well, he said he's not into like the real crazy, so I'm not sure it's gonna be up his alley.
This one's crazy. Yeah.
But Lawrence Harvey's the man. Well,
but also, if you're big fans of Brutal Massacre, the horror comedy I did, David Naughton, who is the director, who plays the director in that film, is going to be there. Also, obviously, of American Werewolf in London fame.
Nice.
Didn't they have him on last week?
Yeah, we had him on 2 weeks ago.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, Doug Bradley.
Bill Moseley's awesome.
So many names there. It's going to be good times. Are you going to have copies of the movie there?
I'm going to try to. Cool. It all depends on if I get the delivery by the time I leave, which is Friday morning.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been a lot of fun.
Not at all, Neal. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys there, hopefully. If you can't make it, oh well. But if you can, please stop on by.
Hey, this is Bill Moseley. I play Otis in House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and Chop Top and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com. Don't touch that dial or I will lick your plate.
Hi, this is Heather Langenkamp from A Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
Hey, this is David Naughton, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
All right, y'all go to WithoutYourHead.com. I'll come over there and put my boot up in your ass.